Hi everyone, my name is Tomas and I'm a dog trainer down in Brazil. I'm specialized in teaching other people on how to train and educate their own dogs. I'm also the author of a book named Natural Dog Training, which I am translating to English. 7 years ago, I started a website with the goal to show the biggest amount of people how easy it is to train your dog using patience, knowledge, and care. And 3 years ago, I started a series of videos which took my level of communication to a new dimension. Now I plan to put online on this channel of YouTube a complete series of videos with a complete dog training course. So stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe. Educating a dog can be very easy, as long as we focus on understanding instead of judging. In order to achieve this goal, we need to understand the meaning of the dog's behavior and the process it takes for them to learn and memorize. We need to understand how their brain works and their needs, recognize their capacities and their limitations, and only then try to show them the way. Welcome to a pleasant and beneficial way to educate and teach tasks to your dog. This is Natural Dog Teaching and I'm Tomas Spiegel.
Fear or respect?
For some people, it might be hard to see the difference between a dog who obeys out of fear and a dog who obeys because he understands and respects. But in fact, there's a great difference between them. A dog who was trained using choke collars, shock collars, or punishment, trauma, this kind of dog will always be afraid of the consequences to their act. They will be afraid when facing a new situation and won't be able to improvise and adapt when something new shows up. On the other hand, a dog who understands, respects, and trusts, this dog, he will be able to face new situations and try to find the solution to new problems that you pose to him. So it's very important that you be careful on the techniques and the philosophy you use behind training your dog. Try always to use respect instead of fear, because you might create traumas and problems for your dog for the rest of their lives. Of course, there are some dogs that can withstand harsh training, hard training, can withstand physical punishment, they can withstand shock collars, choke collars. But in fact, using this kind of methods, you are only selecting dogs that are able to withstand. For each dog you graduate using this kind of training, you will break another 9. When we teach a dog using respect, knowledge, and care, we can reach comprehension and education far beyond our expectations. A dog who is encouraged to make it right will always be trying to please you, trying to find out what he needs to do to fulfill his place in the pack.
Dogs are intelligent.
Dogs are very intelligent creatures, and although our capacities are much greater than theirs, the process it takes for a dog to learn is very similar to that of a small child. The first author to pay attention to their intelligence was Stanley Coren. He wrote a book called The Intelligence of Dogs, which I recommend to anyone who wants to understand better how a dog understands the world. Dogs will learn by trial and error, and although their complex communication is far different than ours, they are able to adapt and to memorize the meaning of words, they can relate words to objects, to actions, and with exercises in the future, they will be able to even understand combinations of these words with complex meanings. The same way we have to go over something we already understood in order to memorize it, a dog will have to repeat an exercise or a situation many times before he can memorize that. He can understand very quickly once you pose a problem or a puzzle for him to solve. But in order for him to memorize, he has to repeat it many times. Remember how it took us a long time to memorize the multiplication table or the alphabet or words. It will be as challenging for the dog for much simple things like sit or come or go to your bed, to your house, to your kennel. So we have to be patient and we have to repeat as many times as necessary for him to understand a determined action or exercise. A puppy will start learning at 45 days of age, but we have to be very careful in the methods and techniques we use to train and to teach this puppy. If you take care, you be and choose techniques based on joy, on positive reinforcement. If you do everything that you can as playful as you can, you'll do a good job. Older dogs can learn too. It just takes longer for them. They will need more exercises to get to a certain level if compared to a dog that you started training at a much younger age. It's just like human beings. If we start to learn skiing, for example, when we are very young, we'll become very good at it. And if we start skiing when we are old, we're probably gonna have a hard time. But we will learn as well. The important thing is that you work together with your dog, no matter if you want to train exercises or if you want to help him overcome traumas and fears. It's very good for the pack to train and to exercise your dog's mind. Dogs have good memory. They are able to remember recent events or events that happened years ago. They are even able to know that if a sequence of events that already happened in the past happen again, he can reach a determined outcome. So their memory is very complex and we're only beginning to understand their capacities. I remember a story that shows a bit of how good a dog's memory can be. About 3 years ago, I was at a pet shop and suddenly one of the attendants came out with a poodle, and the poodle gave me a stare. You know, the stare like someone gives you when that look someone gives you when he thinks he recognizes you from somewhere. And I was very puzzled by that look. And a few seconds later, the owner of that poodle came in the store, and suddenly it all came to sense. What happens is I trained that dog about 10 years before that event. The dog was only a puppy, about 6 months old, and I saw the dog again 10 years after that, already a grandma. And the dog was able to recognize me, even before I was able to remember which dog was that. So instead of looking at a dog as a fool creature, we have to admire them for their capacity of it and their adaptive intelligence and how they were able to blend so well with human beings and our society.
Exercise 1. Here.
Alright guys, I'm going to show you now the first exercise that you can practice with your dog. Teaching tricks to your dog will not only improve your capacity to make yourself clear to him, but will also improve his capacity to understand what you're trying to explain to him. It's like a snowball. Each new trick your dog learns, each new exercise that he learns will prepare him to go further, to take a next step. Whenever I'm starting a new trick, teaching something that the dog does not know yet, I prefer using food as a reward. Toys will usually make the dog more excited. It's very good for toys are good when you want like speed, you want acrobatic maneuvers, but if you want concentration and you need to train the same thing many times over and over in slow steps, food is always the best choice. I'm going to be using industrial dog treat. There are many brands like this in the market. Always choose something that is not bad for your dog's health and that you can divide in very small pieces. Usually I protect them inside my hand with my thumb like this or inside, and I use that to manipulate or to induce the dog to do whatever I want. Once I reach that point, I open it and I give him the reward. As the train goes on, I start to shape the commands, the gesture into the open hand, and the closed hand, and I start to manipulate into gestures like the palm up, palm down. The dogs will always memorize first what he sees. Words is something that he will be able to construct in his mind, and only in the future he will understand a word. But an image he will understand in a few minutes. In most cases, it's very easy to make the dog come to you. Most puppies, if you get close to the ground like this and you clap your hands, or if you call him in a joyful way, a playful way, come here boy, come here boy, usually most of the dogs will come to you. If that does not work, you can try to run in the opposite direction, making noises or calling the dog the same way. You run away from the dog, never towards the dog. If that does not work, you can also pick up a piece of food, dog treat, and you go to the dog, where the dog is, let him smell the food, and then you bring him a few steps further, and then he will start to understand he should go to you whenever you are like this, and he will get a reward. After that, you can go start to get further away from the dog and try to get him to come to you. You can also ask someone to help you, and each one stays in one place of the property, the terrain, and one calls the dog goes to him, he receives a treat, and the other person calls again, and you make the dog go from one person to the other, and again and again. That's an excellent way to train this. Don't forget to train this exercise many times. Practice a lot. This is a very important word, and it's very important that the dog understands and obeys it. Remember, during the education, the first year of education, try not to ask the dog to come if you're going to give him medicine or if you're going to put him in the kennel. Teach a different word for that, like go to the kennel, go to your house, but leave the word here, come, or whatever, whichever word you want to use. Leave that only for good things, because that's the difference between. It could even be the difference between life and death. If your dog is going towards a road with lots of cars, and he always comes when you call him, this time your training will pay off in a great manner. Well guys, that's it for today. I hope I was able to make myself clear. I also want to apologize for my grammar mistakes. It's been a long time since I've spoken in English, but I'll try to get better, and I think I will as we move along. So please stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe, and also if you have any comments or questions about this video, please feel free to post them. And if you want to film your progress with your dog at home and also post up a video response, I'll be very happy to watch it. Thank you very much, and see you soon. This is Natural Dog Teaching, and I'm Tomas Spiegel.